Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kryptonite. So let's dive in.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, and if you like the video at the end, click on the thumbs up.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kryptonite, the crypto investor channel. I'm Boris, and today I am joined by Colton. How you doing, Colton?
Good. How you doing, Boris? Good talking to you again.
Nice talking to you. Let's dive into the Bitcoin ETF. So I think Colton has prepared a few questions that most people would have about Bitcoin ETF. We've heard on pretty much everywhere in the news that a Bitcoin ETF is about to be released. So what is it, and why does it matter? So,
Yeah, and that's my first question, Boris. Is how does the Bitcoin ETF work, and what is it?
Okay, so an ETF basically is it's a fund. It's an equity fund. So the exact term is equity tradable fund. Basically, it allows you to buy something, put into something tradable on the stock market, because obviously you cannot buy Bitcoins on the stock market. So what an ETF does allows you to buy pretty much Bitcoins in a fund and allows you to trade it like you would trade stocks. So the advantage is suddenly out of your TD Ameritrade or Fidelity or whatever brokerage firm you use, you will be able to buy Bitcoin without really buying Bitcoin. You're just buying some company or an entity that holds them for you, so to speak.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes, sir.
So
And
that's something that's been in the works for years and years and years.
yeah. One thing I did read, like you said, it has been years, and it's been question marked for this year for a while, and it kind of looks like it's going to come out today or tomorrow. So that's pretty interesting. On top of that, where is the ETF going to be listed? What exchange is it going to be on, etc.
Well, I'm not exactly sure yet. I would imagine either the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. But there's one important thing to know about the one that's coming out. And it is that this is not a Bitcoin spot ETF. A spot would mean that whenever you buy that ETF, they buy on the spot, so to speak, those Bitcoins. So if, let's say, the fund gets $1 million, they would buy $1 million of Bitcoins. This is a futures ETF, which is definitely not as good for several reasons. One, it is open to speculation because it's based on the future prices of Bitcoin. So the danger is speculation can enter. I think at the end of the day, it looks like the SEC is just trying to please Wall Street, by giving them something that they love to play with, which is futures. And futures make a lot of sense in things like commodities, because obviously you cannot really store crops. You can't really store certain goods. So trading future has a lot of sense because, you need to establish the price in advance. But for Bitcoin, most people right now are criticizing the SEC for making that move. Now, the SEC is trying to justify itself by saying like, well, we need the futures first, then we'll do the spot. So there will be other ETFs being approved. But in Canada, they've already approved spot ETFs. Europe just approved one. So, this is overall a good news for the market. Not as good as if it was a spot ETF, a Bitcoin spot ETF, really based on the actual price of Bitcoin and actually buying Bitcoins rather than trading futures.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. And, you kind of hit it earlier. You said this is kind of like contacting, a financial advisor or going through a brokerage account. How do you buy and sell? Do you need to go through a financial advisor or a brokerage person, or can you do this yourself?
No, you can do this yourself. An ETF is basically, exactly like any stock on the stock market. It has a symbol, like Apple is AAPL, for instance, or, so that particular, um, it's pretty much a stock. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. That stock will have a symbol. As long as you know the symbol, you enter it into your platform, and there you go. You'll see the actual price, and you will see the actual uh, possibilities for you to buy one share, 100 share, 1,000 shares, whatever you want to do. And you'll be able to follow the price evolution on your platform. You'll see it on finance, Yahoo Finance. You'll see
Hmm.
it on any of the usual market watchers that are out there, because it is exactly traded like if it was a stock.
Gotcha. Okay. And that kind of leads me to my next question is, as an investor of the ETF, do you actually own Bitcoin or a part of Bitcoin, or how does that actually work?
So this is futures. So obviously, it's basically trading paper. It's trading on what the price will be, a few months from now. So definitely you're not owning any Bitcoin by buying into that ETF. But even if it was a spot type Bitcoin ETF and it was actually purchasing Bitcoin, you would not hold any Bitcoin either. I mean, what you would hold is shares in a fund that actually owns the Bitcoin, but you could never go see TD Ameritrade or anybody for that matter, or any exchange or anyone and say, I have shares of that fund. Please, I want to exchange them against Bitcoin. That just is impossible to do. All
Okay.
you are doing is you hold shares of a little bit like if you own shares of Exxon, you don't own any barrel of oil whatsoever. They do,
Hmm.
but you
Yeah.
don't. You own them. That's it. You own shares of the company. So it works exactly the same way. The Bitcoin would always remain with the company. You would never be able to exchange those shares for actual Bitcoins.
Okay. And that kind of, my next question is can I redeem those units, or as you quote unquote said, paper for physical Bitcoin, but you obviously cannot
No,
do that. So,
no.
my next question is then, who are the custodians and the sub custodians of the ETF?
Well, I mean, the company, they own, let's say that a Bitcoin spot, they will be the custodian of the actual Bitcoins. So if it was a spot Bitcoin ETF, they would be the custodians of those. A little bit like GBTC, which is Grayscale Bitcoin Fund, is trying to it's an over-the-counter type product, but they're trying to get their ETF approved. So GBTC would actually become, it would become actually an ETF. And
Okay.
so they already own quite a few Bitcoins. They own a lot. So they're the custodian of those Bitcoins, and they're the one deciding whenever they need to buy or sell some depending on how much. And there's always a lag. So, when the market is going up, like right now, and if it's
Yes, sir.
going up rapidly, sometimes they don't even have enough time to buy enough coins
Okay.
to catch up. And then if the market goes down, then they have to sell Bitcoins, to reflect the reality. But there's always a lag. So depending on if the market is going up or down, sometimes you get you get the fund at a discount, so to speak. And sometimes you get it at a premium, depending on how the market is moving, because it is it is difficult for funds to follow, especially markets like crypto that move so violently sometimes, and so rapidly some days.
Oh, definitely. And, that kind of leads me to my last question for today. And, is the Bitcoin held by the ETF in a cold wallet? Like, where is this being stored?
Yeah, it's very secure. I mean, GBTC, for instance, who owns so many Bitcoins, everything is in cold storage because, I mean, they might have 5-10% of their whole Bitcoin position in a spot account where they can trade. And those guys they don't do spot. They don't do it on exchange. They don't go, they might deal with Coinbase or a big exchange like that. But what they do is they actually trade in a very different way. They actually do it over the counter with Coinbase. So they call Coinbase and they say, hey, we need to buy, 10,000 Bitcoins
Hmm.
or we need to buy 5,000 Bitcoins. But they don't go on the spot exchange with the rest of the retail users like you and I. Because if they were suddenly putting an order for 5,000 Bitcoins, the price would just shoot to the moon in matter of minutes. So it would be a big problem. So yes, they don't do that. It's done over the counter and yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. And, that's about all the questions I have today, on this. If you'd like to add anything else, feel free, Boris.
Perfect. No, I mean, I think that's it. So the important thing I think to understand is that if um, a spot Bitcoin ETF comes around, which is the one that most people are actually looking for, the big advantage for that would be that it's going to make a lot of people who want to invest in Bitcoin but don't want to open an account with Coinbase or Binance or any of those guys, but they want to put that into their retirement fund, like in their 401k. That's going to make it possible. And
Yeah.
suddenly, I think Kevin O'Leary, which some people might know from like Shark Tank, he predicted that if that happens, if that ETF comes around, we're going to see over $1 trillion comes into the market almost overnight, because lots of people are going to say, man, I heard so much of Bitcoin. My kids are telling me about Bitcoin. My grandkids are telling me about Bitcoin. And so maybe I want to buy it for my 401k, or I want to buy it through my brokerage account. And that's what people are going to do. So that's going to bring a lot of, and that's going to make literally, that's the one thing that could make Bitcoin actually go from, possibly $100,000 all the way up to $200,000 or $250,000, pretty much not overnight, but in a matter of weeks or months. So it's going to be important. So we'll be watching to see if it is released, anytime soon. We don't know. I mean, they're releasing that one right now, which is a future trading futures of Bitcoin. But the spot trading is the one that we want to see in the market, and that may be coming later this year or early next year.
Gotcha. Yes, sir.
Thank you for all those questions, Colton, and I hope to see you on the next episode of Crypto Night. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you soon.
Yes.
Good day. I hope this video helps. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. And if you like the video at the end, click on the thumbs up.